It's a beautiful, snowy, wintry afternoon. I want to show you, I don't know if you can see this, but just the sparkles in the snow. Can you see the sparkles? I don't know if you can see the sparkles. It's so beautiful. I don't know if the camera captures it adequately. And then the spring branch here. You can see I love how the ice forms, and then you can see the water like in between the frozen places, and it's just such a joy to walk back through these woods and watch how every season shifts things, like how the forest just allows every season, you know? I feel that kind of is a good segue into what I wanted to speak about in this video, which is, I suppose, allowing the whole of every moment. And that sounds so simple. It's like, duh. Yeah, I want to be present. I want to be present with the entirety of the moment. But a trap that I have fallen into that is really, it just clarifies itself in subtler and subtler ways, you know? But allowing, you know, we have this tendency to, when something challenges identity or isn't in line with like this identity that has been formed just very innocently through conditioning, through upbringing, through beliefs and all those things, we start to hold parts of a moment away. Typically, either the inner experience that's arising is being held away in favor of, or maybe not in favor of, but what's instead oriented to is another's experience, and really catering to another's experience, or catering to what's happening in the environment, and holding away the inner experience and not feeling it directly, which, like, that's what I've fallen into. But embracing the whole of a moment, the whole of this includes the inner experience, includes the sensations that are coming up, includes there's nothing holds more weight than anything else. And that's what happens like with identity, is certain things are grasped onto, certain things are given more weight than other things, but everything is equally weightless. You know, your own inner experience holds just as much weight as another's inner experience, and even when those things contradict one another, like that, it's that too. It's the sensations of anger, it's the thing that wants to express itself, you know, it's the thing that's wanting to be said. But what happens, and what happened here, and like this identity and this self-structure really pushed away, it wasn't even a push, it was there's just so much subtlety here. Like there was maybe an inner acknowledgement at times of like, oh, this feels uncomfortable, or there was like a pressure or tension inside. But there's just like this conditioned and habituated orientation externally to another's experience, and trying to maybe like put, when something was communicated, like make it flowery, or like sprinkle glittery words in what was communicated in hopes of not hurting somebody's feelings. But like what I had to ask myself was, what's the most truthful thing that I could say in this moment? And that doesn't mean to not be kind. Sometimes there is a directness and a firmness that's required in a moment. Like there is a discernment in what's being wanted. But we unknowingly hold away our own inner experience, either, unconsciously judging our inner experience that is less valuable, and it's not a conscious thing, it's something that's been conditioned and habituated. We kind of create tiers that, like, okay, the outer experience or the experience of another takes precedence, and that's how we get into these roles of, or we're being put, we've been put into these roles of like being a helper, or having this like persona of kindness, or this persona of helpfulness, or this persona of goodness, or a persona of like a rebel, which is like in the rebellious persona, maybe the inner experience is kind of put above the experience of other. And in both cases, there's like one is given more weight than another, but the truth is that they're equally weightless. And all of them have to be allowed in, because all of them are that. They're not separate, so they can't one can't hold more weight than the other. I really hope that you can, it's just so sparkly. I don't know if you can see the sparkles, but it's just so gorgeous, like glitter. It's glitter on the ground. It's so beautiful. I don't know that there's much more to say. I suppose that there's just a lot of nuance here, because it's one thing to conceptually understand this, but it's another to actually live from that place and to speak authentically. That's part of this, it's like, I feel like there's, maybe in the non-dual realm, there's kind of like judgment, which I fell into this for a while, like judgment of, like spiritual personas who are very flowery and talking about like, well, this is my truth, and this is this and this and this. And like, in one way, like my truth is it, but it doesn't hold more weight than anyone else's. And that's where we get confused. Is that we either express my truth, and my truth has to be, we cling to this idea that my truth has to be acknowledged in a certain way, or seen or heard, but really what's being wanted is for it just to be fully let in to like our own awareness, which is hilarious, because it's always let in. It's always allowed. Everything is always allowed. Which is a fucking bananas like paradox that like there's resistance, but the resistance is allowed, so it's like it was never not free. And it's just wild. It's such a wild thing. But it's like not just conceptualizing that nothing holds more weight than anything else, it's actually putting it into practice. And like, if something wants to be spoken in a moment, to speak it. And like, and in doing that, it's all the cards get put on the table, and you have to let go of control about the outcome. You're no longer, there never was control, but there's no longer the sense or the illusion that there's control. And it's by shining a light on it, it's stranglehold is taken away. I love the crunching of snow, the sound of walking through snow, and like the feel under the feet, just crunch, 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 crunch. Oh. How are you moving with the seasons, with the winter, with the sense of hibernation? Winter is such a time for like, nature is such a beautiful reflection. It's like this inward movement and stillness, and this time for contemplation and reflection and deep self-inquiry. And I find that that's reflected, my inner experience is being reflected externally. So I had somebody say to me recently, and this was like such a potent pointing, that like, I don't think I actually want anything in the moment to be different. I think like what I really want is what's already happening. And I just thought that was so gorgeous, and it's so true. Like we don't actually want anything to be different. What is really wanted is for the entirety of a moment to be let in. Is for like those pieces of identity, those things, those aspects of the moment that are being either held at bay by identity, like pushed away or grasped at, are just wanting to be let in, like allowed, felt, seen, just to exist as part of the whole, you know, as part of this that's happening. It's not that we actually want anything to change. A little piece of trash here, pick up. Hold on just a second. Put this in my pocket. So can you, in a moment, pause and maybe just ask, like, is there something that's being held away that's just wanting to be allowed, that's just wanting to be let in, that's just wanting to be seen and acknowledged as part of what's happening, without giving it more weight than anything else that's happening as part of this like dynamic moment, like the dynamism of this. That's the challenge. That's the opportunity. I won't say challenge. That's the opportunity. And this gets so subtle. And it's especially tricky with, you know, like shadowy places in ourselves, or things that we've held away and don't even realize that there's identification. Like there's a piece of identity that's basically keeping something out. Identity is like this, it's like this veil, and like things almost like bounce off of it and aren't let in. But the seeing of the piece of identity, of the belief, of the secret belief, like allows the light in. It's like cleaning a dirty window, and the light is just allowed through. You have to like clean the spots off the window in order for the light to be able to stream through, you know? So I think that's all that I have. One last look at my little wintry. You can see the sun back there, my little wintry wonderland here. Not too much snow on the ground, but let's get a closer look at the beautiful stream. It's so beautiful. Happy holidays, happy solstice, happy hibernation, happy self-inquiry. Enjoy.